I played through the story mode of LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, and a question that came to my head after I played it was, would TT Games, the developers of this game, and also all LEGO games, would they make something like this again for other properties? Because is this a new turning leaf for the company, or is this just a one-off deal? Because if you're not aware, or if you didn't hear on the news or like on websites, from what I've read, the TT developers, they did something called a crunch. And that's basically where they worked overtime, like really overtime. And I think if you take that into effect, the pandemic, they're working at home most likely, so it was probably very tough for them to work on this game. And the way it turned out, it really worked out, and that kind of brings in question, would they do this again, like for other properties? Like, there's a couple that I can think of that would really benefit from the Skywalker Saga work, is what I'm going to call it. The Skywalker Saga vision. I think like a couple games I can think of would be, like off the top of my mind, like the Harry Potter franchise. That would be pretty cool to have the open world of the Harry Potter buildings and Wizarding World, seeing it in a different light. Another one could be the Indiana Jones franchise, because the 5th film's coming out, I think, next year. So having all 5 films, LEGO Indiana Jones 3, having all 5 films, open world, I think that'll be pretty cool. Another one I can think of would be The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. That would be pretty cool. I mean, already in the original game those open worlds are pretty big if you played those games. And they'd probably be bigger in this newer version if they would do it. But, would those LEGO games be remade with that in mind? Or will it just, stay the way they are? Because I don't necessarily know. Because the Skywalker Saga game itself is a very good game. It's very well made for the circumstances that the developers went through. Going into overdrive, making this game, working at home. It's a masterpiece that it came out like this. It is kind of a masterpiece. But I did rewatch my older video that I did a couple months back where where I was worried about the game, and some of the stuff I said in that video is kind of true. One of them is. One of them is the fact that you cannot replay every single thing in the game. When you're in free play, playing the story mode, there are parts in the game where you cannot replay them, or you're playing the film or a part of a film in the free play. And which is kind of disappointing, because if you want to play that, then it's well, you can't. I understand why, because there isn't really much point to it. And there's 5 main levels in each episode, but there's a lot of mini stuff that happens in between those main episodes, and stuff that's pretty major. If you were to play just off the missions alone, you're kind of speedrunning the episode. So some of the levels a lot of it happens in the free play mode, where you can't replay it again, which is a worry that I had. But I understand, but it's kind of disappointing, but I get it. So I bring this up because if TT Games were to remake the Harry Potter films, Indiana Jones films, the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films, would that be the same case where stuff that was in the original games are now just in the free play mode and you can't replay them after the first time you do it? You would have to replay large portions of the game again to just reach that point to play that in the free play again. For example, in the Skywalker Saga, you have a level where, there should have been a level where you were Luke training with Yoda on Dagobah. That was actually in the complete saga. And in the Skywalker Saga, you just do it in free play. It takes a couple minutes to do, and it goes by kind of quick, and I was kind of disappointed by that. And that's just one example. I don't want that happening in every other game if they're going to do this from now on. But I get it. It's something I understand. It's one of the things where I can complain about it, but I understand, because it's not that important in the grand scheme of things, because the levels that are in the game right now are only, they're only that have spots that you put mini kits in and actual levels to, do stuff in with combat and puzzles, which some of the levels don't really have that in free play mode that you can play in those levels. No, when I say levels, I mean like the sub levels. Like I call them sub levels because they are technically still levels. It's just not like a main level. It's like you're doing it in the free play, the free roam, but you can't change character, so it's technically like a level. It's confusing. If you were to play this game, like if you're someone that has not played this game yet, it's confusing. When I first played it, it's confusing, and they don't really tell you about it. You just kind of gotta figure it out by yourself, and it's just what it is. I do wonder if TT Games will continue making games like this, like in the Skywalker Saga, where it's this big, massive, open world, exploration heavy, a lot of collectibles game, or will they go back to what they did a couple years ago, where they made games that had a lot of collectibles, were open world, but they weren't like incredibly detailed. Now I guess it depends on the source material. Like if they're making a game that really only has like a couple films in it, then probably not. That isn't really that heavy in terms of detail itself, and I doubt that they'll go into that. But then again, TT Games knows how to make detail in any game, even if they don't have that much detail in the game itself, in terms of lore or just location, set pieces. If it's just a generic city, they'll know how to make it different and make it unique from other cities that they've done. But it does go into question if they would do what they did with Skywalker Saga again, or not, or do it for stuff that is massively big. Like, I'm waiting for the day where they're going to announce the MCU, or Lego MCU game, because that's going to be insane. I doubt they're going to do all 20 plus movies. They're probably going to do the Avengers films and maybe a couple more important films that tie into the Avengers films. But I don't think they're going to do all MCU films. That's too big for them. Doing 9 movies was a lot for them to do. It took them several years to do. And granted, there was a pandemic when they were making the game, but then again, it still took them a long time to make the game, so I don't know if a pandemic will really delay them all that much. But what do you guys think? Do you enjoy playing the Skywalker Saga game? Did you even play it yet? Are you interested in it? Because I had fun playing this game. I think it was a really fun experience, and I think if you're going to play this game, or if you're going to replay the game again, I think it's something to note is that this is not a recreation of the films. This is TT Games, this is Lego's interpretation of the films. This is their version. Stuff's going to be removed, stuff's going to be added in. And I think once you kind of accept that, then the game is pretty fun. And especially a sequel trilogy. So episodes 7, 8, and 9 are pretty funny, but if you don't want to hear the dialogue, you know, just turn on mumble mode and just play the game without hearing dialogue, which, granted, some of the dialogue in the sequel trilogy is pretty funny because they make fun of themselves, which, I'm surprised they were able to do that, considering Disney does not like making fun of their own films, so it's nice to see, a Lego game doing that, but I guess Lego is bigger than Disney, so I guess they can do that. But like I said, did you play the game yet? Are you watching videos on it? What are you doing with this product? Because I think it's going to be one of those games that is going to feel like when you're playing for years on end. Not because the game's so big, just because of how popular it is. Well, actually both, because the game is pretty big. It'll probably take you like a year probably to complete the game if you're doing it casually, like myself. So, yeah, I'm going to go now, so goodbye, everyone.